Hello mates, CBDs, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you some products that I bought purely for the packaging. Some of them are good, some of them do not live up to what I thought. So before you leave, be sure to subscribe because I do upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and I'm ready to hop into some of the products that sucked me in and got me all excited just for the packaging alone. I gotta tell you, all of these products are from Sephora. None of them are drugstore. Like the drugstore just doesn't have the level of packaging that brands at Sephora come out with. So that's why I have a ginormous bucket. They all sucked me in, all of you guys. First product I'm gonna share, and I'm not going in any order, I'm just kind of pulling them out of the bucket, is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer in the shade Luminous Bronze Light. This for sure sucked me in because of the packaging. I mean, you can't blame me. All of these things look so beautiful and luxurious, and I'm like, I want to be a part of that. And it doesn't help when your favorite YouTubers are talking about how good it is. Obviously, I had to buy this guy. This is actually one of my favorite bronzers that I do have. Granted, it does have a little bit of sparkle in there, but the beautiful marbling throughout it makes a very nice, pretty bronzer shade. To me, I feel like it's the perfect undertone for me, for my fair skin. It gives a little bit of a luminosity to the skin, but it's not a flat matte type of bronzer. I do think this lives up to the hype. Obviously, I've used it a ton. The word hourglass has rubbed off of this product. The only thing with this is it gets so messy with your fingerprints. That's the only thing that I would say for this product that I wasn't a fan of, but this is so worth it and it sucked me in for the packaging. The next product I'm gonna share is from NARS. This is the Klein One Shocking Moment palette. This is so cool. I got this a couple years ago. I think it was a part of the NARS holiday collection. I think this is what the packaging looks like. It's got a ton of different shades in here, including Laguna, that bronzer right there. And it has a nice contour shade. All of these blushes on the bottom are so pretty. I do think this lives up to the hype as well. It has a beautiful, huge mirror. Oh my gosh. This is very sturdy packaging. I take it with me traveling. If I just want like blush and contour and bronzer, I just take a palette like this traveling. I do think it's a little heavy, so it could weigh down your stuff a little bit, but it's a nice palette and it's a very expensive palette. I don't think you can get this anymore, but this was something that also sucked me in. And I do think, I mean, I use it all the time still, and I feel like the formulas are really, really good. Next product is from Becca. This is the Becca Jaclyn Hill Champagne Collection Eye Palette. I don't know really if I want to open this can of worms because it's very controversial here on YouTube, this whole collaboration and stuff. This again, also with the mirrored packaging, it just, you get fingerprints everywhere. This is what the palette looks like. This is the palette that shipped out and had very inconsistent formulas depending on who got what palette. Like everyone bought the same palette, but all of the formula was completely different. I remember hearing people be very, very upset that none of these were pigmented at all. I luckily got the palette that was pretty pigmented, and I feel like over time it's gotten less pigmented. Is that me? Like, I'll swatch it for you guys. Personally, I really love this shade right here for the lid, and this one I feel like is becoming less pigmented as the years go on. I've had this palette ever since it came out. This was just a whole thing when it came out. It was, I'm sure, a very frustrating process for that time when it did come out. Those are the swatches on the back of my hand. I do ultimately still like this palette. I do think that this shade right here, the one that I love, and the light pink are lacking in pigment. And I feel like the formula has changed over time. Like if you look really, really up close at this shade right here, it almost has this weird thing happening in the middle of it. It makes me think that I need to get rid of this palette because something is happening in the middle where it's becoming really hard and dense and not soft or like metallic anymore. So this was another one that sucked me in because of the packaging, and I'm gonna say, I think that I have better palettes. I know I have better palettes that I like more than this. So this was kind of a dud to me. Next product is also from Becca. This is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. This gives you the glow. If you're a dry person or you really love that dewy, almost like metallic finish underneath your foundation, you would really like this primer. I have oily skin. I don't feel like this makes my skin look more oily, or like actually adds hydration. This does not add moisture to your skin. It's just something to make you look very dewy. Ooh. This is what the primer looks like when you blend it out. It looks very champagne-like and adds definitely something really cool to the skin. But this is something that really sucked me in because of the packaging. I'm a sucker for frosted glass packaging, and I think this is such a pretty primer. I love that it comes in a pump, and it does leave a very cool sheen on your face. It can be a little intense, so you just have to be careful. It's almost like the new Huda Beauty body highlights that have been coming out. Like, as you can see, you can definitely get that glow out of this primer. There are days that I like this primer and there's days that I don't. I really have to use it very sparingly and not very much because I do notice that over time it doesn't do anything to help what my foundation looks like. I feel like I put it on and it's nice and glowy and pretty, and then throughout the day it just gets really greasy. Next product is a palette. This is the Tarte Aspyn Ovard palette, and this is the Eye and Cheek palette. I do really still love this palette, but look at this. Oh, it's so pretty. Apparently I like really mirrored and like reflective things that to me in my head says luxury. This is the palette, and I really, really like the highlight. I feel like the blush can get a little intense, so you have to be careful because it's so pigmented, but this is a great neutral palette. I really, really like the shades in the eyeshadow palette specifically, and I love the way this smells. It smells like chocolate, but this is one that definitely did not disappoint. The formula is amazing. I love all the neutral shades in here. If you're a beginner, I would definitely recommend this palette because it has a highlight, has a blush, and it has your eyeshadow palette, and that's almost half the products that you use on your face anyway. So I really like it. But oh my gosh, look at this. It's so pretty. Next is a foundation from Marc Jacobs. This is the Genius Gel Foundation. I bought this because of Tarte. Now, this is not a like products I bought because of YouTubers. This is just the packaging, and this really intrigued me. I don't know why. I'm actually not really a fan of the way this pump looks. I feel like it looks weird, like a robot. This, I saw Tati rave about this, and I think that she has more normal skin than I do, like normal dry skin, because this is very full coverage. It's can feel heavy on your skin, but it is long lasting and it does give you very full coverage. This pulls so yellow. Every shade in Marc Jacobs, anything, like any foundation that he has, it's so yellow. I don't wear this foundation a ton, especially if I'm wearing a shirt like this where you can see my neck. I don't want that harsh contrast with my neck. So I tend to wear this on mainly like winter days when I want that high coverage, long wearing type of foundation, and I can get away with wearing a little bit more makeup. And also I'm wearing probably a scarf or something. But this pulled me in because of the packaging. Again, frosted glass. I can't stay away from it. Next is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlight. If you just like look at the front of this, again with the fingerprints, I'm sorry, but that's what it looks like right there. The front and the packaging is just gorgeous. The back is a pretty gold. I can't get over this highlight. Look how much product you get in this highlight, and it has a little bit of a wave in it, so it looks luxurious. Look at that. That is the highlight on my hand right there. This for sure lives up to the hype. I was sucked in from the packaging and it was just gorgeous. I love the stars and like the rose gold lettering, but this, I stay around for this. This is so good. It is one of my all-time favorite highlighters. I think it's a perfect neutral gold that's not too yellow, and also it can give a very nice subtle sheen, but it can also be like bam in your face and it stays all day long. There's something about this formula that looks so wet and pretty on your cheeks. This for sure is one of my favorite highlights. Next products are a liquid lipstick, and these are from Smashbox. These are the Smashbox Always On liquid lipsticks. I really like the packaging, and it was until I started using them that I realized that I hate this packaging. It looks so nice for a liquid lipstick. The doe foot on here is really, really nice. I love that it has a little hole in the middle of it and it's just so perfectly shaped that it goes onto your lips very easily. But something about this packaging, I feel like dries out the liquid lipstick very fast. I don't know what it is. Now that I'm thinking about it, I wish that the whole, like I wish it was packaged differently to where you got more product. I feel like when it's so large and like square and bulky like this, there's only this little line tube in here that actually has the liquid lipstick. And granted, I do really like the formula, but I found after using it for maybe 6 to 8 months, it really starts to dry out and I just can't use it anymore because I don't get any more product on the doe foot. This originally drew me in because of the packaging, but honestly, I'm discovering different liquid lipsticks that I'm like better. Those are my thoughts on these. I just feel like they, over time, get too dry and it's too hard to apply them. And they're really expensive too. Next is also a foundation that drew me in. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter in the shade 1. This is the All Nighter Waterproof Longwear Liquid Foundation. I haven't used this in a very long time and it's because the shade just throws me off so much. I think that this is either the lightest or up there in the first couple of lightest shades in the range. And this oxidizes like crazy. So it goes on very, very light. Like you look like a ghost when you apply this, and then it eventually calms down and matches pretty well your neck. But it just is a whole process. I find that the formula dries down really fast, so it's a little difficult to work with. But the foundation formula I feel like is really good. I just find that when I'm in a rush, this is not one that I go for, but the packaging is so cool. Next is this Fenty Beauty Killawatt highlight in the shade Fire Crystal and Lightning Dust. This is so cool. The front is actually a kind of like a duochrome type thing where you see it can look purple at times. This is so cool. I really love that is this an octagon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This octagon type of packaging. I also love how it's split between 2 different highlights in the same pan. I think that's such a genius idea, and you can actually see I have hit pan on this one right here. This one is my favorite highlight. This one is a little bit too shimmery and like sparkly for me. I really love the packaging of this. It's so cool, and I would say this one does live up to the hype. I use it all the time. I have a couple products left. This is the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. It's so nice and luxurious and way too expensive, and there are dupes out there for sure. The e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer is one that's just coming to the top of my head. I would say that the Tarte Clean Slate Poreless Primer is also a dupe for this. I've hit pan. I don't want to get rid of this. I don't know if I'm going to repurchase this because it's so dang expensive. I might get the small one. Like, I think that they came out with a mini sized one that's $20, which is still a lot for a primer. You don't get that much product, but I do think that once you have the primer, you realize how good it is and then you get sucked into buying it again. But this is such pretty packaging for a primer. It looks like high-end skincare. That's how I feel when I use it. I do think that it's a really good primer, but I also think there's cheaper options out there. All right, this is also a Becca Jaclyn Hill palette. This is, oh my gosh, I've used it so much, it's wiped off. It's the Becca Jaclyn Hill Champagne Collection Face Palette. Again, with the reflective. Ugh, I should know by now. Just like don't even go for the reflection. I have too much. But this is what the palette looks like. It has a humongous mirror. That's so dirty. But you get 3 blush shades and then 2 highlight shades. I never use this shade over here. I primarily stick to these 2. This is one of the only palettes I think that she came out with that has this Prosecco Pop highlight in it and not just Champagne Pop. I really do like the Prosecco Pop highlight. I will swatch these guys so you can see, but the formula is really good. It's a little bit of a bulky palette in my opinion. Those are the shades swatched on my hand. As you can see, the blushes are very pretty. This is Champagne Pop, and then down here is Prosecco Pop. If you can see, it's a little darker, but I Do really like the palette still. No one talks about it because it's just not even a thing anymore. I still use this all the time, obviously, as you can tell, because it's so dang dirty. Second to last product I'm gonna share is another foundation. This is the Hourglass Stick foundation. This intrigued me so much, this little triangle deal. It's just so different for a stick foundation, and also the fact that this is what the foundation looks like. I think it's so elegant, and it reminds me of high-end skincare again. Now, do I think that this is worth it? I really like my skin when I wear this foundation, so I see reason to repurchase it when I run out of it. So I would say yes, but also you don't need this foundation. Like, there are plenty of foundations that do really well on oily skin, but this to me makes my skin look so natural and very beautiful and very airbrushed. So I do really like this product. It drew me in because I was like, what? A stick foundation that's triangle? And then the last product I'm gonna share is this Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye Palette. This is so cool to me. It's raised, like the letters on here are raised. I gotta be honest with you, I don't use this palette much at all, which kind of frustrates me because when I look at it now, it has some really cool shades, but I don't see any dark or matte transition shades at all in this palette. Like, to me, this is just a lid shade type of palette. You can't use this palette and just use this palette alone. You have to take other shades from another palette. So I do feel like that the formula is so good and very pigmented. And now that I have it, I like it. I just need to remind myself to use it because it's not something I normally reach for, number one, because the sparkly shades are very dramatic and very bold. It's a very dark and smoky palette, as you can see. So it's not something I wear to work a whole lot. I don't wear super smoky eyes to work. I do need to wear this more often because I will swatch a few shades for you. It is very nice. Like, the formula is so good. All of the shades are very shimmery and pretty, and also very pigmented. So those are some swatches right there. It's just such a dark palette. Do I think that this is worth it? Probably not. I feel like you in other palettes have probably already have these eyeshadow shades. I don't know if I'd recommend that one because it doesn't have everything you'd need to make a smoky eye look. So there you have it. Those are all of the products that I purely bought for packaging and ended up either liking or not liking. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If any of these also you feel like you agree with, I'd love to know. I hope you guys had a great day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.